Here we go. Hey, everybody. It's Kathy Inman, your Digital Card Pro. I am excited to be back here for a second time to bring back Michael Ray Newman and Edwin Britt of Edge Global. If you were able to be with us last week, you got to meet the guys, to see part one, really just to dig in and figure out, like, who are these guys and what do they talk about? And you might have kind of got some of those keywords: leadership, sales, training. What do we talk about? Organizational, putting together things for your organization. So if you are someone that has a big team of people that you work with or a big sales group of people that you work with, these guys are guys you want to know. And today we are going to talk about trust. So we talked a little bit about that last time. We started to dribble in a little bit of information. And today we're going to jump right in and we're going to start with the first T in trust. So that is think. Think, plan, and prepare. That is all part of the very first T. We got 5 different series we're going to do on this. We're going to go through each of the letters. And today, I'm just going to let them take it away. If you guys have questions or comments, put them up there. I'll pop them up for the guys to see. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Brittany Smith is with us today. And we will, you guys know Brittany? Yeah. So we will go live, let them have some fun, and tell us a little bit about trust.
Sure. First of all, Kathy, again, everyone, thank you. Thank you guys for having us on again. We're excited about it. And I always love talking about the trust process because I've lived it for 30 years, not knowing it. Remember that. So I'm going to let Edwin kind of jump in, and this is his baby kind of, and the mindset of a champion. We're just wrapping up. We've got a couple more videos to shoot, but we've got 52-week masterclass. It's Mindset of a Champion, and it covers the trust process plus a ton more. And Edwin, Kathy was so right when she said, every time that she said, this is not just sales training, this is not culture training, this is not any kind of sales training. It is all those things balled up operationally. But then every time we leave somewhere, I mean, without fail, somebody comes up to us and tells us that this is not just sales training. This isn't a check the box kind of training. This has been life training for me. I'm going to go home and take this back to my family, which really makes the big difference.
That is so true, Michael. Can everybody hear me okay? Kathy, you guys can hear me? Yep, good. And what we're really laying down for you today, guys, is how do you develop a client-centered process? All right? We alluded to it a little bit, but oftentimes when we're trying to influence someone, what do we draw on? We draw on our personality, our experience, our knowledge of a certain feature or function, right? And we're so excited because we're using something, we want someone else to begin using it. We want to influence them to take action. And it's important that we have a personality. Obviously, we all have one. Or many people focus on their product, right? I can't wait to tell you about this wonderful cup of water and why it's going to be so refreshing. And here, you've got to have some too. And, and then now we're both having some together. And that's an extreme example. But a much better bridge, what happens under all of those scenarios is resistance. And people don't really listen. And they certainly don't take action based on that. The reality is people make decisions and take action based on their experiences, their challenges, their feelings, their motives, their beliefs. You see a pattern here? It's actually all about them. And so often we get so excited, we push ourselves towards someone, and then we wonder why they didn't join us. They didn't take action. What we want to do is give you a time-tested and proven process that builds a bridge between where you are and the person you want to influence, and you make it about them. Selling is really so much more about listening than it is about talking. Because, and you might want to make note of this, the person who has the most information has the most influence. Now, let me clarify that for you and why I'm saying all this before we get into the T. Person who has the most information, we perceive that to be, we get about half of the equation. We have all the information about our product and service and what we want the other person to join and be a part of, but then you've only got half the information. Right now, this cup is only half full of water. At some point, I'll run out. Now, what are we going to do? If you start with half a cup and it runs out, you're done in half the time, right, Kathy, Michael? But what if we want to fill your cup today? We want to fill it up, and the way you've got to do that is you got to get information from the other perspective. It's about what the other person wants to solve, what they want to accomplish, what their needs are, what their challenges are, what their frustration is. And that's where the shuffle card is such a valuable resource, but only until you truly understand their needs, and more importantly, they understand and get a chance to articulate their needs. Michael, I know you've heard me do that all over America. I'll give you a chance to speak to that a bit.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I've heard him do this countless number of times all over North America. Yes, you're right. And via video conference and all kind of things now lately. But when I'm listening for something, I get a little something different out of it. So yeah. I just wrote down something that I've heard you do that. I wrote down listening and knowing what to listen for. And the first T that we're going to get into today, Kathy, is the one that trust process. Think, relate, understand, offer solution, take massive action. Every T, every letter stands for something, and trust is it. Because when you can build trust, and Edwin, I've heard Edwin say this before. I'm not sure where he got it, but people will listen to you if they like you, but they'll buy from you and they'll buy into you if they trust you. So trust is like the foundational thing of everything we do, personally and professionally. And I'll get into today what it means to me and why I'm so passionate about it, because when I believe into something, and this is really, I'm going to tell you about it. Now, I may not get my point across because I'm going to give you too much of me a lot of times when we start relating, but when we go into places, and I'll jump into the T just for a second, Edwin. I want you to take this and run with it. I know you're going to knock it out of the park here. But when we go to someone about something we want them to buy, yeah, you can get a fake crowd noise, like they have right now. But when we go to someone and we want them to buy into something, whether I'm going to my wife, my daughter, my son, my parents, my brothers, my businesses, the people that work for my internal customer, my external customer, when we go to these places and I go in, I have an idea. I know what they need. I know what I want them to have. I know what kind of response I want to get, but they don't know that, right? And they come in, and I come in a lot of times, and Edwin said it, we have to have a client-centered process and understand. I want you guys to think on parallel tracks as we go through this process for the next 5 weeks. I want you to understand this. It's about, make it about you, but then I also want you to take it in your life professionally and personally. Think about both sides, and that's when you can really start making a difference in your life, when you make a difference in everybody's life around you. So, Edwin said client-centered. That could be, your family. That could be the customer that you're trying to get. And I go in there a lot of times and I try to sell myself. My personality gets overwhelming because when I get in trouble about handling objections or relating to someone, I use more personality, right? And some people, like Edwin said, they go to the product because I've had the most training about what? My product, my water, right? Why it's so relevant. It's awesome. It's just how we deliver it that makes it different. So those are the two things. This T, the first T in the process, for me to be able to really relate to somebody and connect with them and uncover the need that what they really need, and then offer a real solution and get them to take massive action, I had to take a step back, take a deep breath. It's going to be all right. Get you some yoga breathing going on, Kathy. You know what I'm talking about there. Brittany was on a while ago. She knows all about that relaxation before you go in there, fight or flight. I take a deep breath. And before I go in to see someone, I think, plan, and prepare. That's what the first T is for. And I really step back and think about them, their needs. And it's easier now than ever. And this is also something that relates to our 4 R's that we have, Edwin, reset and relaunch. Those 4 R's that we go into, I do it during the conversation. I give myself a check because I have my list, whether I'm researching that person on social platforms, whether I'm looking at their Wikipedia page, depending on the CE level that we're talking to, I find out about their business. So I've got think, plan, and prepare is that was a big miss for me. It's just like when I say this a lot, pick my little girl up from school. You ever pick your kids up from elementary school or junior high? They get in the car, the first thing you say is like, how was school today? What do they do? Fine. What was good about it? Lunch. They don't want to talk to you. They've been working all day. They get in the truck and they don't want to talk to you. I've got to really think and plan and prepare of how to engage with her when she gets in the truck. So when I'm going home, maybe give her a minute to breathe. maybe throw on a song that I know she likes. And I start thinking, planning, preparing before I even pick her up. So I set myself up for success in the very beginning. And when you do that really well, and we do this now when we go into customers or when we're coaching a customer that comes into us, a client, individual. You and I do a lot of team coaching right now. And those people that were individual, Edwin and I have a conversation about that person. We know what they need to get out of it before we even start relating and uncovering them personally and engaging them. So that's why the T for me, Edwin, when I started going through this and validating about 5 years ago that I've been doing this for 30 years. And then we started laying down mindset of a champion, that 52-week program that we just finished. Still, I go back to the T and learn how to know what I'm going in to listen for. Kathy, that's the big piece. We're going and listening, but when I can intently listen and I know what I'm listening for, it's validating my thinking, my planning, and preparing. And then if I hear something different, I learn something different. So it takes me a little bit of a different path. So I'm always in that T, even though I'm in the R, the U, the S, or the T. Edwin, I'll let you take it.
No, so we'll begin laying this out.
Hold on a second. Did y'all get all that?
You better be writing fast.
Yes.
You better be writing fast. I even have notes. I can't tell you guys how many times I've heard y'all, and I'm still taking notes.
I can't hear anything.
That's really an important. That's an important point, though, is for your audience, Kathy. First of all, and I guess they can raise their hand and say something. I can't see who's responding, but would everybody like to learn something in the next 15 seconds that will change the trajectory of their ability to influence other people? I'm assuming your audience will be saying yes, they'd like that, Kathy. Is that correct?
I'm saying it. Let's go.
What percentage of calls, the people you go to research or influence, do you win? Kathy, how many would you say you win? What percentage of people that you have meetings with would you say you win?
I'm going to give myself a pretty high percentage. I'm going to say 80%.
That's phenomenal. So somewhere people are going to answer somewhere between 20 and 80%. That's really, really good. You're very, very good at what you do.
I've seen you guys how many times? Of course. I'm going to give you all the credit, Edwin.
So how do we get it to 100%? I win 100% of the calls that I make. 100%, whether it's the first call, the 10th call, I win 100%. This goes right to the T, the first T in the trust process. And the way you win is I simply want more information at the end of the call, whether it's in person, video, however we do it, than I had beforehand. See, it's a gathering of information. It's a gathering of momentum. And that's why it's so important that your audience has a process. Because when you have a process that's client-centered, it gives you something to lean into. You don't have to worry about what you're going to say and what you're going to do. You've got the muscle memory built up. You've got a path. And what you need to think about is, here you are. Here is the client. And you want them to be in the same place you are. We teach it TRUST. But the reality is throughout your interaction, you want to be where that person is. You want to meet the other person where they are. You can speed that up. You can back it up. You don't have to start at a certain level. You just want to be and match where they are. The reason people aren't successful in influencing and selling others is because unknowingly they are disconnected from them. And so they're constantly chasing the other person. Have you ever felt like you were constantly chasing the other person, looking for a decision, information? Well, the answer is yes, we all have. All right? You don't want to chase. You want to run along beside. You want to build a bridge. And that's why the T is so important. The next thing I want to share with you briefly is over these next few weeks, we're going to keep giving you these tidbits. You're going to get little clarity each time, little pockets. You're going to go, oh. You just heard Michael say, we've been traveling together for 5 years all over North America and all these kind of venues, and he learns something new every time. You will not learn enough in the next 5 weeks to make a significant difference, personally or professionally. In order to do that, that's why we built the 52-week program Mindset of a Champion. That's where we're going to go and really, really build that out. You don't change. You make a decision to change. You can make a decision to change right now for the better. You can make a decision right now based on Michael and I's words I'm going to live my legacy. I'm not going to leave a legacy. I'm going to develop the mindset of a champion. right now. You can make the decision today, but you won't become that champion today. That's going to take time and effort and resources and investment on your part. The T, it's possible to under-prepare, but of all the important pieces of a client-centered process, the most important part is the beginning, the thinking, the planning, and preparing. Kathy, Michael, I'll toss it back to you guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Edwin. When you talk about meet you where you are, I mean, you guys, we do talk all everywhere, and our master class is about this. But it's so funny to me that people come to me. We could say, I get up and talk that whole day. 5 different people come up to me, and they all get something different out of it. You need to make sure you take the time for these next 5 weeks when you get on here. What do you want to get out of life? What do you want it to look like? It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything that we're talking about. What is it? Just tell me just put, define the gap here. There's a big whiteboard. Put what you want at the top of it. What if my life was this? What if my life could be this? I know it can't be, but what if it could be? Just entertain that for a second. And at the bottom of that whiteboard, put you. That's a little stick figure, dude. Kathy draws it. She'll put her long, pretty hair in there. And I know how I just draw a stick. Done. Go. Kathy puts a little dress on her and everything. But however you want it to look, what do you really want that to look like? And that white space, that's the gap. That's what these next 5 weeks can do for you. It's not about Edwin and myself. It's about what we can do for you. What do you want to get out of life? What do you want to get out of anything that you're putting into? You want to ring the rag, be present, have a great attitude walking into that moment, and use a process. And we're going to give you a life process as we go through this, Kathy. I know we have to wrap up, but I'll let you take it away. I'm not sure if I can hear you, but I know everybody else can. So
Edwin can. I don't know what happened. No, I appreciate it. And again, I take something away from every time we talk. And I do want to, shameless plug. I'm going to tell her, I've seen you guys speak so many times. You've been so gracious to have me speaking with you guys at some events. But I think that both of you the points that, I hope everyone is hearing is, this is something that you can take into your family. So if you're having, I've got a no longer a teenager, a 20-something. Teenagers, sometimes there's a hard gap there, right, to have a conversation. Sales, I can't even tell you. Even when I met you, you guys have been so influential for me. But when I first met you, I had to figure out who you were. What was your message? What did you bring to the table? And then as I learned and trusted and got to know you even more and more and more, it's just become this incredible relationship. And for me, just I was talking to Guy in Yard today, and this morning I was like, the way that you guys craft words, I hope everyone is listening, because the words are so important. Listening more than talking, obviously, that's what we're all here to do with you guys. And I also am going to plug your personality type. Whenever you do the personality types, Michael Ray, I don't know if you can hear me, but again, if you guys have a big team, or if you have people that you work with, you really should reach out and connect with Michael Ray and Edwin, because they are fantastic in person, online, it doesn't matter. Super fun to have for your group to connect with. So we are going to wrap up today. I feel terrible. Michael's just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Edwin, thanks for coming out today. I know you're back at home, not in Texas anymore, but we appreciate you coming live with us. And we cannot wait to bring you guys.
Yeah, no longer in Kansas, no longer in Texas. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Next week.
Next week, So what's R?
I can't hear what y'all saying, so I'm just going to jump in and start talking. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you, Kathy. We'll talk about the R, how to relate, how to uncover some need there as well.
That's what we're going to do. All right, perfect. Everybody have a great week. I'm going to turn this off.
Thanks,
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Kathy. Bye.